Hello, everybody, and welcome into Senior Living Live. My name is Melissa. As always, thanks so much for being with us. We have a great discussion on tap today as we literally pull the curtain back on senior living and the different pieces that go into caring for a resident at an Arbor community. Suzanne Price is with me to break all of this down and maybe tell you some things that you didn't know about senior living. Suzanne, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you look great. So first and foremost, for those who may not know you, you're pretty new to the show. We've had another episode with you before. We're going to have a couple more coming up. Tell us about yourself and what you do for the Arbor Company.
Absolutely. I am a registered nurse, and my official title is a regional care specialist, which means I go around to the different buildings and support the nursing staff, the frontline staff, and really anything to do with resident care. I help train new directors and just really overall make sure that all of our communities are really caring for our residents in the best practice possible.
Yeah, and you do such a great job staying on top of all of the information that our seniors need to know to stay healthy and active for as long as possible. This conversation kind of goes into that, and I'm excited that people get to kind of get a glimpse of what it's like to be in senior living without being in senior living maybe just yet. So
Mhm.
let's dive into that topic, right? So
Sure.
senior living communities, can provide a lot of things that a lot of people don't even consider. Care is, of course, a big one. It's kind of why you move into a senior living community for a lot of people. So let's start there with caregiving. What might be happening behind the scenes that go unnoticed by most people?
There is actually so much that goes on. And to be honest, before I came into this specific industry, I didn't realize how many different moving pieces are going on to care for each of our residents. I look at almost that we are case managers, social workers in the terms of we bring all of those services together for each of our residents. And we either bring in a third party provider to assist with that, or we provide the service through an in-house piece. But our job is to kind of supervise that and make sure that each of our residents are receiving that person-centered care that is so important to keep them thriving and healthy.
Yeah, and a lot of people are probably watching if this is something that they are interested in, whether it's that's a senior themselves or maybe a family member of theirs, and they're thinking, well, of course, that's why I would move, into a senior living community. But Suzanne, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't recognize until they're either in it or they have a family member in it. Can you tell us about those little intricate details that
Sure.
people don't know about?
Yes. I'm going to start because this is my passion and I have seen the effects of this. One of the things that one of the items that bring folks in, and sometimes the family starts to wonder, are they safely taking their medication in their own home? Are they able to? Do they have vision or cognitive or just have a hard time keeping up with all the different medications? When they move in and we take over that whole medication administration, we're not just providing someone coming in every day and passing out the 3 medications in the morning. We are providing a huge network of medical support, which includes, first of all, a very safe system that is a computerized, well-researched, proven system of medication administration. We communicate with the pharmacy, with the doctors, so that any medication that they have, we are overseeing that is the correct medication, that it was prescribed correctly, and that there are no errors along the way. And then for me, one thing I think families don't really think about is if you have someone that you are going into their apartment every day in the morning, maybe perhaps noon or early afternoon and evening, 3 different times you're bringing them medication. You may be taking some vital signs that go with those medications. That is a very one-on-one kind of experience that you've got eyes on that resident multiple times, giving them their medication. It's like a check all throughout the day. And of course, we do our normal rounds of safety checks, but this is a more specific, how are they doing? And I will tell you that it really pays off. I will have a nurse or a med tech come to me and say, Miss Jones, there's something different, and they catch it so early that it is not an apparent symptom, but they know that resident so well that they can say there's something off, I'm noticing, and it's because they know those folks like a family member.
Yeah. And, when we talk about this, it's for people who are residents who are living in communities at all levels. I mean, I
Absolutely.
forget to take my medication sometimes. I forget
Me
to take
too.
my vitamins sometimes. And it would be great to have somebody to say, hey, by the way, did you do this today? Well, no wonder why I don't feel well, because I
That is so true.
for the last 3 days. So,
Yes.
there's the checks and balances system, and that is so crucial. No matter again where you happen to be in your senior living journey. So I'm glad we talked about that.
Yeah.
Now, another aspect that people may not be aware of until they're in it, that
Mhm.
is the in-house therapy option, which is a
Mhm.
great option for a lot of residents. How does that work?
So again, a wonderful piece of collaboration between our team and the therapy team. So each of our communities have a third party um, therapy group that has an in-house area, if you will, in our buildings. And they can provide occupational, physical, or speech therapy, or all of them, to residents in the building. They go through their Medicare to and any extra supplements that they have to provide this service. It is a beautiful collaboration. We actually have a meeting each week in each of our buildings where the clinical staff meet with our therapy staff, and we discuss every person that is on service. So again, they're getting that really intense oversight, and we talk about what's working, what isn't, something we've noticed. They will tell us something they've noticed. They will also train our staff on the best way to assist with perhaps a transfer for someone in the low vision program, someone who has some vision deficiencies. They can come in and help create a safe environment in their apartment. And then together, we will provide that training to staff so that resident can thrive in whatever circumstance they're in.
Yeah, so a perfect example of how to use that. Say you go in, you have a hip replacement, right? And you
Mhm.
have to have physical therapy on the back end of that. Well, guess what?
Absolutely.
You can leave your apartment in the community and go right downstairs to
Mhm.
the therapy room, and boom, you got it.
Yes. And the other thing that I love is that you're receiving that in your own home, just as you
Yeah,
would if you were living in your home.
right.
So they can come into your apartment, and if you're having a difficult time navigating around corners with your walker, something like that, they will help you provide that safety environment in your own apartment. They will look for anything that might be a safety hazard that our resident hadn't noted. And so it's a very individualized approach. They will take them outside and navigate the curbs and the sidewalks. And what I love is even when they're off service, they're still right there. So if they notice that Mr. Jones is kind of slouching with his walker, or those things they worked on, they see are kind of sliding, they will come in and we may put that resident right back on service again and really enforce those. So even if they're off surface, they're never completely off because we're all working and talking together.
So I think these are all great points, again, that people don't realize until they're in it. So we're talking about the in-house therapy portion, but hey, if somebody's got a doctor's appointment, guess what? They've got to go to the doctor. We've got that handled too with transportation. So let's touch on that.
Yes. So all of our buildings, again, have a transportation service. And so, for example, if they have a doctor's appointment, usually it's the front desk that kind of coordinates that. And we write it all down on the schedule so that they have the time and the place that they're going. And then what's nice too about that is we coordinate that with our clinical staff and our frontline staff so that that resident is ready to go. They're all dressed. They've had any medications they should have had prior to going. They've had their breakfast, whatever. So it is a very coordinated approach. And then when they return, our drivers are very good about bringing back any paperwork, communicating anything that's a need to know after that appointment. And it's a very comforting fact for our residents because they know their drivers, again, they are part of our family. The fact that they are there transporting them is a very comfortable, safe environment because most of our seniors have some anxiety going to the doctor. We all do, probably.
Sure. But you know what this touches on? We hear it so often that people they want to stay in their home as long as possible because they want independence, but then they're relying on somebody, maybe it's a son or daughter, to take them to these doctor's appointments, right? Well, guess what? The way this is all set up allows you to be as independent as you possibly can.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that gets lost in the mix sometimes. And yes,
Yes.
you can do all of these things, and the support is there at the community. And then if you say, well, I don't want to be a burden to my children, well, your children, they don't have to be a part of that at all. You can go
Mhm.
about your day, come back, and then enjoy
Yes.
the rest of your day, and it's all efficient, it's taken care of, and you don't have to worry about a thing.
That
So
is so true.
yeah,
And
it's
another thing that you reminded me of is our engagement portion. I think a big issue is just, you wanted a few items at the grocery store, or there was something at Walmart, and who's going to pick that up for me? And that again is something that we schedule. So there are regular trips to Walmart, grocery stores, those places that we all need to go or want to go, but you need a ride there. So we provide it, and it's like a field trip. It's very enjoyable, and they can peruse the aisles and just have a grand time. Sometimes they go to lunch after, so it's a party.
nice. Yeah, very nice. Now, another part that you kind of touched on, you said you have your breakfast and get ready for your day. Let's talk a little bit about the food, right? So
Yes.
the dining, what do people not know about how we handle food at the Arbor Company?
That's a great area to focus on. One of the things that I see when our residents move in, and this is regardless of how independent they are, I think any of us, when we're on our own and we're not cooking for the rest of our family, we don't tend to do 3 well-balanced, nutritious cooked meals every day. I know myself, I kind of graze here and there, unless I'm cooking for someone else. A lot of our seniors have really stopped cooking, and they don't have that desire to create a full, well-balanced meal for themselves. So they start to eat more snack items, or perhaps some preserved items, frozen food, what have you. When they move in, they are given that 3 meals a day choice, and they do have a choice what they would like. If they eat a larger meal at lunch, that is something they can certainly do. It's up to them to kind of regulate what they do. If they eat a light breakfast, they can do that. But if they love that big farmer's breakfast, that's available as well. We have some dietary modifications: no concentrated sweets, no added salt. If someone is on a diet that requires, for example, mechanical chopped or mechanical soft food due to perhaps some stroke effects or some kind of difficulty swallowing, we provide that as well. So we manage the diet based on their doctor's orders. We don't come up with this on our own. We go with what the doctor has specified. And so those with, for example, someone who has a diagnosis of diabetes, what they need in terms of no added salt and no concentrated sweets is there for them. They have a dessert option that fits within their diet, which is a hard thing to do at home sometimes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then the again, we're talking about just sort of having the ability to kind of kick back and enjoy. Well, you got to
Mhm.
get in the kitchen, you got to make all that stuff if you want it, right? So
Right,
know that it was prepared
right.
correctly. So thanks for mentioning that. And as we wind down, Suzanne, what are some of the things that maybe people don't realize about senior living communities until they're in one or their loved ones make the move to one? And when I say that question sort of at the end, it's the little things that when people walk in, they say, oh my gosh, you provide that too?
Mhm.
Hospice, mental health
Yes,
care? I mean, what are some of
yes.
these other options?
Really, any need. And again, it's very important to me that we view each of our residents in a holistic manner. We're not a skilled facility. We're not the hospital. We're their home. And so, as such, whatever need they may have, we will address. It may be through a third party provider or some kind of a referral, but we will get that rolling for them and kind of manage it and make sure that it's happening. Any kind of specialty, if they needed a dermatologist, a cardiologist that is not in place at that time, we will call the family and work with them to make sure they're getting whatever needs they have. And sometimes families are not aware of perhaps a mental health issue, perhaps a little bit of depression or anxiety with the move. They tend to be more open with us, the residents, and are pretty honest about it. So we may have the opportunity to kind of start that conversation and talk about, what can we do to really look at this and address it in a quick manner that really gets them settled in and feeling like they're home. We also look at them as a person and see what can we do to help them feel more at home. If they love gardening, can we have a special gardening activity, or can we have them go out and help us work on the raised gardens? We really look to see how can we help them thrive in whatever way possible.
Yeah, and you mentioned depression. We're going to have another episode about that, depression in seniors, with Suzanne. So you guys are going to want to head on over to the website, which we will mention in a minute, to catch that particular episode if that's of interest to you. Suzanne, great discussion.
Yes, thank you, as always.
Yeah, we're so fortunate to have you as a resource. We always learn something new when you come on the show. Come back anytime.
Thank you. I will.
Absolutely. Now, if you found this video informative and would like to watch more videos from Suzanne and others discussing all topics relating to senior living, head on over to the website. Here it is, www.seniorlivinglive.com. All of our videos are available 24/7. And the best part, guys, they are all free. Thanks for watching. As always, have a great day, everybody.